Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. This is the UGAsports.com quick take. I am your host, Jason Butt. And hey, one more day, and then Georgia plays Vanderbilt. And then after that, we got a long bye week before the Bulldogs gear up for its arch rival, Florida. But of course, as Kirby Smart said on Monday, can't look past Vanderbilt. That's all this team's focus is on right at the moment. Even though Vanderbilt is not that good of a team, they are 3-3. They have they beat Hawaii, beat Elon to start the year. SEC wise, not so good. Coming off a 52-28 loss to Ole Miss, though. Played that game much better than people thought. Ole Miss still won, got the cover thanks to a late touchdown. Got a feeling Lane Kiffin or somebody, they didn't want to just run the clock out there. So maybe somebody needed something to happen. I'm not saying anything. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. A lot of other teams wouldn't have gone that extra step with less than a minute left to add another touchdown to win by 24. So we'll move on. We'll move on. But Vanderbilt should not be an opponent that does anything remotely close to what Missouri did. Georgia had issues in that game. Georgia was a heavy favorite in that one. Came out just lethargic, did not seem to be in sync on offense. Defense then started to give up some plays. Next thing you know, you're down by 10 and needing to rally in the fourth quarter, which the Bulldogs were able to do. I don't think anybody really is expecting this Vanderbilt game to turn out the same way. Now, as I mentioned on Wednesday in the Wednesday wager, which I gracefully said stay away, don't take either team in this one. There's plenty of other games to bet on this week. This is one that I'm just not confident when it comes to the spread and even the over-under. Definitely an under lean, but I'm not going to bet. And the reason I say under lean is because when you're talking about 58.5 points, that means that Vanderbilt has to score 10. And I'm not so sure that Vanderbilt scores 10 against Georgia. I think it's going to be, in the 0-7 range. Whether it's 2 field goals, 1 touchdown, or nothing, I think that's kind of what you're getting. And the way the Vegas line seems to operate is they're expecting a similar game to Vanderbilt, Alabama, where Alabama won 55-3. I think so. I just don't. It's too tough to tell. But if we're previewing this game, do we think that Georgia gets off to yet another slow start? It's tough to tell. But if the fourth quarter is indicative of anything, it's that the ship rights here against the Commodores, to use a terrible pun. Now, Georgia found its as Stetson Bennett said, its moxie in the fourth quarter against Auburn in a 42-10 victory. Now, they were only up 14-0 at halftime. Got sacked, fumbled, was able to hold Auburn to a field goal to start the second half. You're thinking, okay, this is going to be another close game like the Missouri one. And then as it went on, Auburn did not have an offense to really move the ball, and so Georgia was able to finally take advantage of those opportunities and run away with the game. Here's what I'm thinking. This game's at home again. Georgia, its offense, whether it has A.D. Mitchell back or not, I don't know if that matters. I think this Vanderbilt team, they're not going to be able to stop Georgia's run. Georgia's run's finally getting going. We'll see if they go with a little more Branson Robinson early in the game. Regardless, whether it's King McIntosh, Branson Robinson, or Dejon Edwards, I fully expect Georgia to be able to have its way there. And I do think Stetson Bennett gets off of the streak of 0 passing touchdowns. He's gone 3 straight games without throwing a passing touchdown. That's kind of wild. And quite honestly, we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. But, at least he's put up the yards. He's put up some rushing touchdowns. So, he's sitting on the Heisman periphery right now, especially, with the number 1 team in the country. He's not going to really go anywhere. But, the Heisman is so much of a numbers award that, not throwing a passing touchdown in so long, I think that's probably hurting his chances there. But Georgia, I fully expect this to be the game where the slow starts end. Georgia's offense gets out, goes down the field, first drive, gets a touchdown, up 7-0. Whether they got the ball second or first, the first drive for the defense is a stop. Georgia goes down the field again, this time after the game script. Game script plays on the first drive are worn out, which I think will be a lot of passing. I think they get to the ground game and they get another touchdown. And then by the end of the first quarter, you're talking about either 17-0 or 21-0. And then from there, I think it's coasting. I know that's not an exciting episode of the UGAsports.com Quick Take. There's really nothing else to analyze when it comes to this offense. I just truly think that Georgia's going to be able to get off of the slow start skid that it's been on and be able to roll. Just you look at Vanderbilt's season to date, Wake Forest had its way with them on offense. Although, granted, Wake Forest had a slow start, and they were able to end up rolling. Obviously, Alabama was just start to finish dominating. Ole Miss, they got down early and were able to do its thing and come out with a 24-point victory. Now, when you look at Vanderbilt's team and what they've done this year, offensively, they don't really threaten you much. AJ Swan, their quarterback, he's thrown for 848 yards and 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, so that's good. But he's not really threatening you. They have really 2 receivers. I would say one, Will Shepard, he's their go-to. 452 yards, 8 touchdowns. Jaden McGowan's not bad. He's a pretty good player. He's got 380 and 2. But then after that, in the passing game, there's really nothing much to worry about with Vanderbilt. And then you're talking about Georgia having one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best cornerback in the country, in Keely Ringo. You're just not concerned at all. The rushing attack, they're Ray Davis, 108 carries, 507 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then your second leading rusher is your backup quarterback, Mike Wright, 277 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had to play early on before Swan was ready to go. And so, yeah, you look at this team. There's not a lot that, and I'll credit Clark Lee. He's done a good job so far of getting Vanderbilt back to not the embarrassment that it has been in the last couple of years. Derek Mason was a good coach, and he's a good defensive coach, I should say. As a head coach at Vanderbilt, it is so hard to build a respectable team there. James Franklin was able to do it, and when Franklin left for Penn State, Mason came in. It just it seemed like Mason was going to pick up where he left off, and it just every year they got worse and worse and worse until the COVID year, which was just a catastrophe. And so now with Clark Lee, they're going the other way. And the way Vanderbilt has played, the little I've been able to see this year, they are improving. I do think they're about a year, maybe 2 years away from being a team that can cause some scares, can actually maybe pull an upset off against a respectable opponent. But right now, this team is still very much the bottom of the SEC. I'll be surprised if they win an SEC game this year, and I expect Georgia to roll and get off of the slow start problems or get away from the slow start problems that have affected them of late. So we are talking about a significant win. I'm already blanking on what I predicted in the score predictions, somewhere along the lines of 45-6. I think I'm not. Part of me wants to take Georgia to cover, but I just think it's a tough one. 39 points is a tough one to do, but I think it's going to be around that area. If you take the cover, you're going to be sweating it out. And so that's where things stand today on this lovely Friday. So on that note, I will let you guys go. You guys have been awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Just subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Go join the UGAsports.com dog vent if you haven't. That's the best Georgia community in all of the World Wide Web. And so thanks for being fantastic. You guys are always awesome. And I've been Jason Butt. Y'all take care.